into today's session. So before our presenter begin, we have an exciting giveaway to discuss. So your active participation during the conclave shall provide you the opportunity to win a $100 voucher. So we'll drop the links into the chat box. So what you have to do is during the conclave, you have to ask as many queries, whatever you have, and you can simply drop all those queries in the chat box. And once our expert is done with the session, we'll discuss all of them one by one. So our next presenter is Miss Harpreet Chawla, and she is going to discuss the ideal courses that one can study for PR on their 485 visas. So over to you, Harpreet.
Thank you, Upkar. Hi, a very warm good afternoon to everyone joining here. We will be starting with this session, and my name is Harpreet, as how Upkar just told you. I'm just going to quickly share my screen with you all, and we can begin. In the meantime, if you can quickly give a shout out to your friends who you think can be, somehow be profited from this entire session, and they can also get to know about it. So if you think there's anyone you know who may be able to get benefit from this, feel free to give it a shout out. I hope my screen is visible, Upkar. Can anybody see the screen? If you can just give me a quick thumbs up.
Yes, Harpreet, it's visible.
Perfect. So we'll just start with the session. So what we are going to discuss majorly is going to be the courses that we are going to choose while we are on 485 visas. Now, to begin with, just to give you an idea about the various services that are provided by the Aussizz Group, some of our products here, which includes the PTE tutorials, the IELTS tutorials, Get My Policy. Just to give you an idea, these are just going to be very beneficial for you. So if you are somebody who is planning to apply for TR and you think your IELTS PT has expired and you need some sort of sessions, so obviously you can go through these websites that are also a product of the Aussizz Group. Get My Policy, wherein on a single platform you're able to compare all these policies and get the best quotations. I think this is really handy tools for you. The CCL tutorials, which includes the NATI, and obviously you must know that NATI includes a lot of helpful points on this. Professionally Air Australia, OcuSearch, these are all the things that are very, very handy to you and very helpful moving forward. So OcuSearch is a mobile application, a very popular application, and I'm sure with the past sessions as well that you all have attended with Aussizz Group, you may have seen the migration agents talking about this. So this indeed is a very, very helpful application wherein you can just get all the required information in just a click. So this is just really helpful for everyone. Now, to begin with, just to give you an idea that what are the courses that we are going to discuss in detail in today's session. Firstly, there are about 5 programs that you can see on the screen, including the Graduate Diploma of Early Childhood and Education Care, Advanced Diploma of Telecommunication, Advanced Diploma of Civil Construction, Diploma of Nursing, and trade courses. Just to give you an idea, some of these top education providers, wherein you can find these different courses across various states in Australia, Swinburne, Southern Cross, and other the providers that are listed on the screen. Now, firstly, talking about the first course, which is Graduate Diploma of Early Childhood. We'll discuss about what this program is. So basically, once you study this program, you get a hands-on experience along with the theoretical knowledge of how you are able to help children at a very young age. So some of the career opportunities that you can see on the screen, which include public or private kindergartens, the preschool, long day centers. Now, just to give you an idea, if you are somebody who is on a 485 visa, the best part is that these classes for this course can be done online. It's not mandatory for you to go for face-to-face classes. Just like students who are on 500 subclass, they are supposed to go ahead and attend the classes face-to-face. But if you are somebody who is on TR, then the flexibility is that you can attend the classes online. And it's actually very, very convenient because you are able to manage both your work and side by side study this program and further lead to PR. We also, the other part is that you are not required to give that IELTS if you have the skill assessment. Now, the condition for that is that you need to have 3 years of education already in Australia, and the 4th year is going to be this program. So if you complete 4 years of education in Australia, including this course, I'm including 4 years, then in that case, you are not required to give any further IELTS exam for the skill assessment. So again, so just to give you an example, if you're somebody who has done Bachelor's of Business, a 3-year program, and now obviously you know that the chances of you getting PR may or may not be very likely, then in that case you go for this program and you do not need IELTS score in order to be eligible for a skill assessment. Again, another best part about this program is that you do not need the work experience for skill assessment. So unlike some of the courses wherein you are required to have work experience, for example, some of these trade courses, here you are not required to have work experience for the skill assessment part. Again, another benefit, duration. Obviously, because you are able to quickly get over with this program and it's not that difficult. So I think this is a very popular program about it. And some of these universities, which I've given as an example here, are Victoria and Southern Cross Institute, which are offering these programs. Moving on to the next program, which is Advanced Diploma of Telecommunication. So just to give you an idea, this may be confusing for some, that what actually does a network specialist does? What does a telecommunication field engineer does? So I'll give you an example. For example, there is a company who wants to set up a business in Australia. And then what is going to happen is, for example, they're setting up a call center and they just need somebody to help them with the customer relations calls that are coming. So in case if there is a glitch in the network, the entire firewall system, in terms of the routers, so it's all to do with computer systems. But at the same time, this is not a very difficult program. So if you are somebody who's thinking that this is going to be more about computing, this is more going to be about, say, a lot of language programming, no, that's not the case. This is actually a very easy to go program, and a lot of these classes can also be done on a fast track basis. So I think this is again a very good option, and plus the prerequisite is not that you should have a bachelor's degree or something. It's just you to have a basic understanding in a class 12th requirement, majority of these institutions. So coming to this point again, now the fees again is very affordable for this program. Flexible classes again, because it's not something that you have to particularly, it's a very heavy study or a heavy load program. This is again an easy to go program. Again, no work experience is required for skill assessment. So once you are done with this program, you are really good to go and you can apply further for your PR pathway. Of course, you can get in touch with the migration agent and they will guide you further. But just to give you an idea, no work experience is required. The duration of this program is 2 years, but there are fast track options available at the same time. And some of the institutions, again, that offer this program include AIBT and New Era Institution. Of course, there are many more. All of these are available with us. So you can just get in touch with us and we'll be able to guide you further. Moving on to the next program, which is Advanced Diploma of Civil Construction Design. Again, this may be confusing that, what is a civil engineering draftsperson? Do I really need an engineering background? Do I need to have a bachelor's degree? These are some of the questions that may be popping in your mind. But this is, again, a very easy to go program. What basically you are expected to do as a civil engineering draftsperson is basically when there's a house that's been constructed or a site that is constructed, you are expected to somehow do a research on that. You are expected to do somehow help the senior, who is actually your draft person, is able to help him and do a research on the site. He's able to help with the sketching, those kind of things. So if you're somebody who also enjoys sketching and at the same time you have that creative mind, because you also are taking help of some computer programs which can help you create such designs, do research. So in that case, this is again a very good program. So civil engineering technician, civil engineering draftsperson, these are all the career opportunities that you are able to get after you complete this program. Talking about some of the benefits, affordable fees, of course, this is again a program which is not a very, very high on pocket. flexible classes. It is available on fast track. There's no work experience required. So, you can thank me later for showing these courses to you, which actually do not require a lot of work experience for the skill assessment. And a lot of people are actually not aware about these courses. And talking about duration, this is just for 1 year, can be done on fast track. And some of these colleges that offer this program include the Stotts College and Melbourne Metropolitan College. Moving on to another popular course, which is Diploma of Nursing. And obviously the demand of nurses, we all know, with the COVID into picture, with a lot of things changing, Diploma of Nursing is highly in demand. The career opportunities, as you know, after you complete your Diploma of Nursing, you can register as an enrolled nurse. So this is one, again, very popular pathway among students on 485 who want to obtain their PR to complete this program. Of course, this is an easy PR pathway because we all know that demand for nurses is really, really high, not only in a particular state, but all over Australia. High in demand. We do not require any work experience for skill assessment because obviously this is in acute shortage. So obviously the PR is a very easy path for this. The duration of the program, which is Diploma of Nursing, is 1.5 years. Also, just to give you an idea, we do have the language requirement for an entry into Diploma of Nursing. So you need to have 7 each, but we can still work and see that how we can help you further. But for that, you will obviously have to get in touch and we can discuss on a case-to-case basis and see if an admission is possible. Now, some of these institutions where this course is offered include Swinburne University and IHNA. Moving on to the trade courses. Trade courses are very, very popular, but I'll just deal with few of them, which are mentioned here: cookery, carpentry, automotive, bricklaying, painting, decoration, fabrication, and the list goes on. There are literally so many courses that you can do as a trade person. And obviously, you know that the demand for these trade courses is, again, really high all over Australia. The best part about these courses are that they are affordable, they're high in demand. You only need 1 year of work experience. So obviously, when you have completed this program, you will be applying for your job ready program and you would need 1 year of work experience. Also, the best part about these programs are, so when, for example, if you're a person who's studying this on a student visa, you will have to do this program for 2 years. But when you are on 485 visa, then you just need to do the qualification for 1 year, depending on the basic requirement of that profession. So this is, again, a very good option. So when you are on TR, you just need 1 year of work experience and 1 year of any of the trade program that we are talking about here, and you would be eligible directly to apply for PR. Some of these institutions that offer include Riverdale, Nova, and Gen. There are many more, and obviously, you know that we have a lot of partner institutions that we can help you out with, but these are some of them that I have listed here. Moving on to the scholarship that the providers, which are these universities, colleges, they include. So this is just to give you an idea that these are the kind of scholarships that we are offering. And depending on a profile to profile basis, sometimes these scholarship, and mostly they're based on somehow the merit and how you have performed, but there are other criteria as well for which you can get in touch with us. And also there was a dedicated session today in our conclave wherein we were discussing about the scholarships only, and there are many more sessions that are still upcoming wherein you have this opportunity to understand and see that what is the best PR pathways. I think this is one of the best platform if you are an international student, wherein you are given a free opportunity to just ask your questions, post, understand what's best for you, and just know more about that, how you can be on the best pathway. I just wanted to give you an insight about that. What is the kind of demand for these professions as well? So the first that we are talking about is the primary educators. You can see that how these demands are segregated among the different states and how their demand obviously will be growing. So in the upcoming slides, I will also be covering about that, how the demand for these professions are going to be in the upcoming times. So just to give you an idea, this is a percentage share of the primary educators in the various states. Again, another one that we covered was network engineer. You can still see that there is a huge demand of network engineers across various states. So, somebody may come with a question and say that, is the demand going to rise for this particular trade or profession? So this is going to give you an insight that, there is a huge demand for network engineers, primary educators, and according to these states. Again, coming on to the nurses, you can see that what is their demand. Obviously, nursing is, I think, one popular occupation and profession where the demand is never ending as of now. But you can take an idea that this is how much these states are still needing it. So you can see the employment contribution by each state. Also, just to give you an idea about the median annual salary for some of these career opportunities that we are discussing and we were discussing about. So you can see that nursing, if you choose this as a profession, then this is what you can. This is just to give you an idea. I'm not saying that this is how exactly it's going to be, but just to give you an idea, a starting could be somewhere between the brackets here, and you can just get an idea that just a starting is going to be for a nurse. If you talk about $77,000, for a network engineer it's more than 10 grand. Civil drafts person, trade, just to give you an idea. And this is just what I could take out from the figures. But obviously, as you may know, that the demand for them is really high. Even if you can just to give you an idea, go on different job portals and understand that how much this demand is. You can see the average salaries there. You can use portals like Seek, Indeed, and understand that what is the demand for it. This is the data wherein I've tried to show that the career and the market projection for nursing, and you can see that the National Skills Commission has identified that the top 10 jobs that are projected to grow the most to 2025 in its reports have mentioned that nursing is going to be one of the leading, obviously, with the demand growing, because obviously that Australia is growing with a lot of migrants coming. The population is growing. The healthcare system needs healthcare workers, including nursing. You know how important it is. So this is one, again, a kind of an occupation that is going to stay in demand for a very long time. Talking about the network engineer, again, a career in market projection, it is forecasted to add trillions of dollars to the global economy in the coming decades. We are expecting a growth of 4,125 with or a rate of 33.97%. So you can see these are some of the figures just to give you an idea that, how much, because I see a lot of students asking this question that, do you think that this is going to be in demand? But if you do a proper research and if you are able to understand that, okay, by the time I finish out, this is going to be still the demand. Because obviously, when you do a thorough research, when you go through different articles and you are able to understand that, okay, this is still going to be in demand, it does help you a lot. Primary educators, obviously, with the growing population of all the migrants, there is going to be a huge demand of the primary educators to look after the children, to help them in their early ages, whether those are daycare centers, whether those are the primary schools where the demand for these teachers are going to be there. I don't know if you guys have read this or not, but there was this article wherein, they have clearly mentioned how the schools right now are short staffed. And a lot of times, people who are still pursuing their courses are able to get good jobs. in these sectors, because the demand is so much and there is so much of shortage. So even while you are studying these programs, you may come across opportunities of joining very good schools, very good kindergartens, wherein there is a lot of shortage of the staff. So when you are studying, you will be able to at the same time get a job. So this is not a bad opportunity, because you may end up making this your career throughout your life. And if you're somebody who's very passionate about teaching, who's very passionate about managing the kids, especially in their young ages, this is an absolutely amazing career, I'd say. So yeah, that's pretty much about the session now. Ukar, I would stop sharing, and I would take the questions.
Thank you so much, Harpreet. It was indeed a very informative and insightful session. And I hope all our viewers would have really enjoyed the way you simply elaborated with the help of examples and the real world scenario. So that was really, really good. Everybody, we are open to questions. Please type in your queries. And till the time we get the queries in the chat box. There are certain questions which have come from other platforms, which I'll simply ask you. And so the question is from a student. So they are simply asking that if there are any additional considerations, such as maybe work experiences needed, or internship, or maybe any kind of networking opportunities are needed, so that they can have a contribution into the PR prospects while they study on their 485 visa.
Just to answer that question, it depends on the kind of, for example, we were discussing that some of these professions may require you to have the work experience, for example, when we are talking about the trade courses. But on the other and contrary part, if you're talking about an graduate diploma in early childhood, when you're doing, there is no requirement for you to have work experience. So it
Perfect.
depends on I would say, a course to course basis and the skill assessment. So some of them do require you to have work experience, and some of them do not. And which obviously, we were discussing throughout the PPT. Yeah.
Perfect. That makes sense. And we have a question in the chat box from Suranjana. So she is asking, is it okay if you could go through the graduate diploma of early childhood again? She missed that part.
Okay. Ukka, do you think it's a good idea if I share my screen, or do you think I should just give the information? What do you suggest?
You can elaborate it in case if you can share the screen, that would be even more helpful for them to read and understand.
Okay, perfect. Just give me one quick moment, please. All right. Let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yes, please. Yes, the screen is there.
Perfect. So I'm just going to take on the slide, which is okay. Here we go. So just to give you an idea on this one, the question was that we'll go through this. So these are the career opportunities that you can see, Suranjana, here. If you are on 485 visa, you would be able to study these classes online. So we have providers with whom you can study classes online. So when you are on student visa, that time you are not able to study these courses online, because obviously it is mandatory for you to go for a face-to-face, and obviously July we are moving on a face-to-face mode. But when you're on 485 visa, that time you are able to complete this course online. That's first. Secondly, if you are somebody who has studied 3 years already in Australia, and you have completed that qualification, there is an EQF level that you have to maintain. So if you are following that, then you do not require the IELTS requirement for skill assessment. So generally, so for example, if you have done Masters of Business Administration and now you want to do early childhood on your TR, that time you are required to have 7788 as your IELTS score. But when you are somebody who is someone who's already just taken 3 years of bachelor's, for example, if you've completed, then in that case, you do not require to have the IELTS. So that's another thing. So this way, you would be able to easily understand that this is going to be a good case if you are able to just go ahead and do that. So I would suggest that if you're somebody who has already done the bachelor's and moving ahead and looking for a PR, then this is actually a very good course. Now, talking about the work experience required for skill assessment. So for skill assessment, you are not required to need any work experience for this particular uh, course that we are talking about, because you would be graduating and moving ahead with the career opportunities of public and private kindergartens, long day care centers, and early childhood centers. So this is just another thing very important for you to understand that this is going to help you out for that. Now, talking about the duration, this course is just for 1 year, and some of these institutions that are offering include Victoria, Southern Cross, but depending on what state you are, we may be able to help you out. So I would suggest that you may reach out to any of the Aussizz branches, and we would be more than happy to help you out depending on your profile, and sharing the suitable providers who are teaching this program. And also, I saw another question, Upkar, that was related to this only, which is I see there is primary education management and primary education program. May I know what is primary education management actually do? Kristen, just to give you an idea, primary education management is basically the management part of it. So, for example, if you have a daycare center, the daycare center does not only mandatorily only has the teacher. There is the entire management that goes beyond it, which includes the admin staff and the admin work. So, if you are somebody who is working in the say a childcare center, and there is another the management part of it that comes. So that's another thing. So, for example, if I am somebody who has got an opportunity to work in the primary education sector with one of the center, and I'm looking in the management part of it. So this is what primary education management leads to. I mean, this is what, just to give you an idea. I hope I answered your question. In case there are any further questions, please feel free to add in your questions, and I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harpreet. That was indeed very elaborative of you to answer both the questions. Then next we have it from Dev. So he's asking if if the IELTS is required to register with APRA.
Yes, you would need IELTS for registration.
And in case if you could tell, is it like a particular score is required, or how it goes?
I can give you more information in it, Upkar, if you just allow me a second.
Yes, please.
And so with the nursing, and if you want to register with AFRA, you need a score of 7 band each. So obviously, when you are taking an admission in nursing, that time also, as I was telling, that you mostly need 7 particularly. So again, with AFRA, you need 7 each as a band score requirement. I hope I answered the question.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I hope Dev, it is good for you. Because Dev has an additional question. So he's asking, is IELTS required to register with APRA before nursing skill assessment?
So when you are registering with AFRA, so obviously you would need that band requirement. And further for skill assessment, that is going to be a part of it. You separately do not need.
Perfect. That's really good. And then we have the question from Ehsan Ali. So he's asking, what are the top course choices available for a master's degree in business studies within the regional areas of Australia?
Now, I would like to answer this question by saying that see, we can look at the research, but just to give you a specific idea about particular regional areas, I think a migration agent may be able to give you a better answer on that, depending on the visa, the courses. But I'd like to throw light on some of the popular courses. For example, if you're doing a master's degree, a business analytics course is going to be a really good option. The reason why I would say business analytics would be that obviously we know that business analysts are in demand, including cybersecurity as well. If you look at the data, and you may also see that how an extended TR is also available to these professions because they are in shortage. And with the extended TR, so masters of business analytics, I would say, is a good option. And obviously cybersecurity is another option that I would say is good in demand. But I would highly recommend you to get in touch with one of our Aussizz consultant, and they will be able to guide you further depending on your profile, because it also depends on one's interest. Because it shouldn't be that, I strongly believe that, you're just doing a course for the sake of doing it, and you should rather have your interest in it. So that's how it's going to be.
Lovely. So that comes with lesson two. So that's nice. And I hope it answers your question, Dev. And further, we have a question from Dorothy. And the question is if the diploma of nursing course is online or face to face these days.
Georgie, that's a very interesting question, I would say. But I would really like to know that how, because see, nursing is something which is you have to put your hands on experience, because until unless, because see, for example, if you are doing diploma of nursing, what you basically are doing, you're treating patients, you are administering their vital and monitors. For example, you have to check their blood pressure, or maybe you have to check their heart rate. Now if these things can be taught online, obviously nothing like it. But unfortunately, a practical course like this, which is nursing, you would have to go for face to face. And it's a course wherein you'll have to be very, very proactive. You cannot have an escape, because there are times when students are like, we do not have a lot of time, can we just have once in a week classes. Unfortunately, nursing is a program which does require you to be very proactive, you to be very regular, religious with your classes. So unfortunately, this course cannot be done online, because you are taught so much of practical. You are given so much of extensive training. You need to have that hands-on training and theoretical knowledge, because you are going to deal with somebody's life. It's all about, because I think nurses are really important, because a doctor may be called later, but it's the nurse who has that hands-on experience in something. So unfortunately, this course cannot be done on an online mode. It has to be face-to-face, the classes.
Indeed, a hands-on experience is needed in this. So let's move on to the next question with this. So we have Afroz who's asking that the difference between Master of Teaching and Master of Education.
Okay, that's a very interesting question, Afroz. So, masters of teaching, if you talk about, because students who come from India, a lot of time they have done their masters of education, and they are under the impression that masters of education is like masters of teaching. But masters of teaching involves more of you to have the understanding of how to teach somebody. Like what are the I would say the what are the extensive equipments you can use? What is the knowledge that you require? How you can impart teaching in a better way. Whereas Masters of Education, if you talk about, has a different curriculum in Australia. So Masters of Education is a program which does not lead you for a pathway, whereas Masters of Teaching is something that you can proceed and get your PR.
Thanks. I really appreciate your reply on this, Harpreet. And next is we have a question from Jay. So the question is, would the online study, for example, graduate diploma of early education work for state nomination in South Australia for skill assessment after master's study? Okay, I think this is more or less of a question for a migration agent.
Unfortunately, they won't be able to answer it.
Yeah, so sorry, Jay. Since we cannot give migration advice, our migration agents would be more than happy to answer you on this. Kindly, please drop in your details, your contact, and your email ID, and we'll just get back to you on this. So moving on, we have the next question from Suranjana, and the question seems like an addition to the earlier one. So she completed her bachelor's in Australia and went from a student visa to a 408 visa currently. And if she decides to do a graduate diploma of early childhood or diploma of nursing with a student visa, will she be still eligible for the post-study work stream, not the graduate coursework? 485 visa, and how many years will she be granted the 485 doing a bachelor's plus diploma? A long question.
Okay. I think this would be a question that you may be able to. Do you not think that a migration agent may be able to answer better?
Certainly, because it has other visas being discussed. So, Ranjana, same goes for you. Please feel free to drop your phone number or your email, and we'll definitely get back to you on this. So, guys, in case if we have any questions, we can wait for a minute more, and you can simply type it in, and then we'll take them, or else we'll be just winding up with the session. So, Harpreet, I see. I don't think so. There are any further questions to this, and thank you so much for your insightful session on the 408 thing. Okay, we have a question from Jay. Is community service a good course to study on 485?
With the community courses, I would say that yes, it is another popular program that you can take up for depending it. But there are few things that you should keep in mind, because with community service there are requirements that your course must be accredited. That's another thing, because if your course is not accredited, then there are further things that you need to show, which obviously would be required for PR. But with community service, yes, that's again a very popular course. Having said that, you are meeting the entry requirement, and further, because for skill assessment as well with community service, you may require to have your IELTS score as well. So it is best to understand that whether you would be able to get that score, because I have seen a lot of students, they want to do masters of social work, for example, just for the sake that a lot of people are doing, and uh, because there is simply a PR, but they don't understand that once you complete that course, you may have to go through that education path of the giving the academic requirements of the English language test, which can be difficult for many. So that's another thing that you should keep in mind, Saranjana, I would say.
Perfect. So the next question is again from Suranjana, and she is asking that how long would it take to get a PR after completing diploma in one of the courses, like maybe education or nursing?
Um, that's something, because if you're talking about how soon the PR is possible, Saranjana, it you need to pick up the data again. With the migration agent, it will be good if you get in touch with one of the migration agents with Aussizz. They might be able to help you and understand that when was the last invitation round here, and what is the kind of the score that the cutoff was going on. So I think, but with these, because these, occupation are very much in demand, I would say that sometimes what I have personally seen with my students are that sometimes the grant for nursing has also come in 6 days. So depending on your points, depending on what occupation you've chosen, that is how these things are determined. But I would say that you get in touch with one of the migration agents with Aussizz Group, and they'll be able to guide you depending on your points, depending on which state you're applying from, depending on what course you've done. You would be able to get that sorted.
And Harpreet, it had an additional question also. So, will you be able to recommend that on 48 to go on a 485 visa while they apply for PR, as there will be only 2 to 3 months time period until their student visa expires?
Um, with diploma of nursing 485, yes, it's I would recommend going on that. Because once you are on your TR, depending on what course you have done, and your TR, choose that course wisely. For example, if you only have TR for 2 years, which is the 485, and then you go for a trade course, so in that case you are consuming both your years and you would not be getting a lot of time left for you to get an invite and wait for that duration. So just choose that course wisely, I would say. But for that, again, you need to get in touch with one of our agents here, and they'll be able to guide you better on that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Harpreet. And I hope it answers your questions, Ranjana. So we have another question. I think it's the last question, and this is on Diploma of Nursing itself. That do they accept only IELTS or just PT, or they accept both?
For the admission, both IELTS and PT is accepted, Dorothy, so that's not a problem. Upkar, there's just one thing that I would also go back and like to answer for a question that Afroz had asked about Masters of Teaching and Education, which I thought that I'll add on to that if you allow me.
Certainly, the floor is all yours.
So with Masters of Teaching and Education, the another important difference with Masters of Teaching is that you may be somebody from a different background. For example, I have studied accountancy and now I would like to teach accountancy. So Masters of Teaching is a program that's going to help me further. With Masters of Education, it has to be strictly from a particular background. You need to have that relevant background. With Masters of Teaching, again, another example, you are somebody who studied maybe something related to sports and you just want to focus on that particular, and now you want to teach. So Masters of Teaching, again, is a good program. So just to add on.
That was really good. And we have another question popped up from Dav, and it is regarding, does nurse need to minimum experience to skill assessment? Okay, there's any minimum experience requirement for skill assessment thing? Again,
Dev, no. For Because I said, like, when you are doing a diploma of nursing, you at that time you start working in the industry, because obviously you get hands of experience. So for this particular occupation, you would not require any work experience, because majority of these courses that I covered today was about majority of the courses that do not require work experience. For example, the early childhood one, the advanced diploma civil construction, the advanced diploma in network and telecommunication. These do not require you to have skills. For the skill assessment, you do not require any such kind of work experience.
thank you for your answer, Harpreet. And we have an additional question from Saranjana, and she's wanting to know the difference between graduate diploma in early childhood versus masters of teaching early childhood and primary.
Okay. Saranja, that's a very interesting question. So every qualification has different levels. For example, if you talk about certificates, you start from certificate 3, certificate 4, certificate 5. Similarly, the higher you go in a degree, the more detailed it is. For example, when you do a bachelor's in a particular subject, it has some part of it. But when you do master's, it's a specialization. It's a vaster kind of a thing. So when you do a graduate diploma, it is a part of Masters of Teaching. So what you're going to study in Masters of Teaching in early childhood, and just to give you an idea, when you complete graduate diploma of early childhood, and let's say that you are not able to meet the entry requirement for skill assessment, which is the IELTS, right? You're not able to get 7788, and now you want to do another year. So if you are somebody who wants to further get for the PR, what you can do is you do the graduate diploma of early childhood, which you may have done already, and now you can go for a credit transfer and apply for Masters of Teaching, because Masters of Teaching is an extensive program and graduate diploma will only cover some part of it. So when you do masters, it's going to be more extensive. Again, early childhood and primary is different, because early childhood is the age difference of the kind of cohort that you are going to address. When you're talking about early childhood, we are talking about the toddlers, we are talking about the daycare centers, we are talking about the early years. When we are talking about primary, the age difference or the cohort changes. So that is going to be the difference between these programs, but they are very, very closely related, I would say. It's just that the amount and the level of degree that you're doing with graduate diploma, it's a part of Masters of Teaching, but Masters, of course, as the degree is higher, it's more extensive. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, and Harpreet, there's an additional question to this that if there will be any difference in case if she opts for graduate diploma in early childhood or maybe master of teaching in early childhood while she gets a PR for her.
So Ranjan, see, when you are applying for the skill assessment, the basic requirement is that you need to have minimum of graduate diploma of early childhood. Now, if you've done a master's of teaching, that is also qualifying you to get a PR. That's number one. Secondly, like I gave you an example that you are not meeting the entry requirement, which is 7788 for the skill assessment. I'll give you a better example. So, example that you studied Masters of Business Administration, which is a 2-year program. Now you did a graduate diploma of early childhood, which makes your qualification for 3 years. Obviously, for skill assessment, you would need the 7788 score, and you're not able to get that. So just to make that as a 4-year complete package to get that waiver of IELTS for the skill assessment, what you have done is now you have enrolled in Masters of Teaching. So you get 1 year of credit transfer, and then you are studying that Masters of Teaching for 1 more year, which makes it complete 4 years. So after you complete your Masters of Teaching, complete 4-year package, you can directly be eligible for PR. So that's the only way of doing it. But both these courses are eligible for PR.
Thank you so much, Harpreet. They were really elaborated answers that you gave, and thank you so much for the patience in explaining everything in deep details. So, guys, this brings an end to our session. So, we had a lovely session with Harpreet, and looking forward to more sessions with you in the coming future. And thanks a lot for joining in. So, we have our upcoming sessions on IELTS and CCL as well as other programs of professional year coming up. I'm going to drop in the links to them as well. So please feel free to join them. And thank you so much for joining in again.
Thank you, Kar. Thank you, everybody.